You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife, Mulroney, snubbed. Things aren't going very well for Harry's wife. Ridiculed by South Park, Chris Rock taking the piss out of her, Charlemagne the God also agreeing that she's up for ridicule. Questions being asked about Prince Harry's visa. The content of Wah being roundly ridiculed and derided. Popularity for the pair of them at an all-time low, having plummeted through the floor. All of these amount to repeated threats to control for Harry's wife. Lack of invitation to the Oscars. Suggestion that they're too hot to handle for the Met Gala and therefore not wanted. A-list, not interested in the slightest. The only person that invites them anywhere is Ellen DeGeneres, and that's really because she's largely persona non grata as a consequence of the revelations about her. It's not good for Harry's wife. And there's another person turning their back upon her. And, according to the Mirror, in an article by Kyle O'Sullivan, Harry's wife snubbed by ex-BFF Jessica Mulroney in Friends Who Stood By Me message. Harry's wife and Jessica Mulroney used to be incredibly close pals, but it seems they have now been kicked out of each other's inner circle of friends. Harry's wife and Jessica Mulroney were once so close they were practically inseparable. Mulroney being a non-intimate secondary source, an inner circle friend to Harry's wife. But apparently it's a completely different situation now. The former Suits actress and Canadian fashion stylist became friends while they were shooting in Toronto, and Jessica helped choose the wedding dress for Harry's wife's character, Rachel. Accordingly, Mulroney finds herself within the fuel matrix of Harry's wife as a non-intimate secondary source, therefore her fuel is of moderate potency. She's there for character traits and also residual benefits, facade management and access to networks. They jetted around the world on girls' trips, stayed at each other's houses, and all three of Jessica's children had important roles at Harry's wife's wedding to Prince Harry in 2018. However, the cracks in their friendship started to show when Jessica was embroiled in a race row, and Harry's wife's name was brought up during the controversy. Now, it seems they aren't really close at all, as Jessica snubbed Harry's wife from an emotional Instagram post about her best friends. On her birthday, Jessica paid tribute to the female friends who had stood by her in hard times. Along with snaps and videos of her pals, she wrote, "I'm not a big birthday girl, but this year I wanted to celebrate some of the women that have loved and stood by me unconditionally. I'm so lucky to have so many smart girls in my life. And you too, Ryan. I'm a lucky lady." Of course, Harry's wife was omitted from all of this, which of course would wound her. The wounding would not be significant. The act of not including her in the list would result in moderate wounding. But what would then occur is that many people would notice this omission and would repeatedly make mention of it, resulting in repeated challenge fuel being issued towards Harry's wife and continuing her downward spiral. Multiple people in the comments section questioned, "Where's Harry's wife?" while others wished Jessica a happy birthday and praised her. "I love hearing about women who stick together no matter what," wrote one person. Another added, "You find out who your real friends are when you go through something tough. Celebrate them." "You deserve these true friends. Treasure them," said a third. Harry's wife and Jessica's friendship had blossomed while she was working on Suits, and the fashion designer was believed to be the Duchess of Sussex's unofficial maid of honour. It was reported that Jessica would be accompanying the royal couple on their first royal tour through Australia, Fiji, Tonga, and New Zealand, and she was also on the guest list at Harry's wife's baby shower in New York City in 2019, therefore demonstrating that she's an inner circle friend of the non-intimate secondary source variety. However, their relationship appeared to change when Jessica was called out by lifestyle blogger Sasha Exeter for displaying textbook white privilege within the fashion blogging community. In an 11-minute Instagram video, Exeter said, "What happened next was a series of very problematic behaviour and antics that ultimately resulted in Mulroney sending me a threat in writing last Wednesday, 3rd of June. Jessica later issued a public apology stating, "I want to say from my heart that every word of my apologies to Sasha over the course of the last 2 weeks privately, and again both publicly and privately today, is true." She appeared to make a reference to Harry's wife by adding, "As I told you privately, I have lived a very public and personal experience with my closest friend, where race was front and centre. It was deeply educational. I learned a lot from that. I promise to continue to learn and listen on how I can use my privilege to elevate and support black voices." Jessica was fired from TV gigs, lost her reality show, and seemingly her friendship with Harry's wife. And now, of course, Harry's wife no longer had anything to do with her, plonking her on the shelf and quite possibly disengaging from her role. So, why? Well, she has no emotional empathy for her supposed friend. She doesn't actually care about her. All she's bothered about, subconsciously, is what she can do for her. How easy is she to control? How much fuel does she pump out? And especially important when it comes to certain non-intimate secondary sources, what character traits can be provided by her? What residual benefits can be done? Can she allow access to networks? Does she help with the facade? And of course, Harry's wife believing herself to be a strong, independent feminist, person of colour, etc., etc., etc. For Jessica Mulroney to behave in the way that she purportedly did threatens that facade. Moreover, as a consequence of being fired from TV gigs and losing a reality show means that she's less attractive as an appliance to Harry's wife, and thus she gets ditched. There's no support. Why on earth would a narcissist support somebody that needs help when there's nothing going to be provided in return? We're not about the provision of help and assistance. We only do so where it suits us. And if you're heading down to the dumpster, don't expect us to help you out. And it's the same with Harry's wife. She's not going to trouble herself trying to support somebody that's now gaining loser status. That not only requires more effort on her part, and her narcissism demands that her effort is applied to her, not to other people, and is only applied to other people where it truly benefits Harry's wife, but moreover, the association with Jessica Mulroney would actually have an adverse impact upon Harry's wife, meaning that she had to be dumped. Jessica Mulroney told Page 6 that Harry's wife was already starting to distance herself from the stylist, as the Duchess was unimpressed with Jessica using their friendship to boost her career, which of course, in the beginning, Harry's wife will have used her friendship with Jessica Mulroney to boost her career, but when it became clear that she was the more famous of the two, she objected to the fact that anybody would derive a benefit through her. In June 2020, The Insider stated, "The white privilege row has really given Harry's wife the excuse she was waiting for to cut Jess off for good. I don't know what the tipping point was, but Jess has been on the outs for some time. Their friendship is definitely not what it was. And really, how can you have such a close friendship when basically one person is making a career out of the friendship?" Fans were convinced the pair hit another rough patch in June 2021 when Mulroney reposted a quote about losing close friends to her Instagram story. "Life changes. You lose love. You lose friends. You lose pieces of yourself that you never imagined would be gone," the passage read. And then, without even realising it, those pieces come back. New love enters, better friends come along. Ouch. And a stronger, wiser you is staring back in the mirror. But in May that year, Harry's wife was left out of Jessica's Instagram post celebrating her best girlfriends in a similar way to the latest snub. Jessica also shared a cryptic post ahead of Harry and Harry's wife's Shitflix documentary airing, in which he didn't appear, but was believed to be on the phone to the Duchess of Sussex in a clip before the prince proposed. She shared a post on the day of the release which read, "Best thing I ever did was learn how to move without the crowd." Jessica has since kept quiet about her relationship with Harry's wife, but broke her silence as she shared a photo on Instagram from the couple's wedding. Stylist shared the black and white snap of herself alongside Suits actress Abigail Spencer and other guests at the wedding reception. Cryptically, Jessica didn't leave a caption with the Instagram share and opted to turn the comments off. Accordingly, here is a non-intimate secondary source that has been cast to one side by Harry's wife, predictably so, as she's a narcissist, but has also sought to snub her in return as a consequence of the way that she's been treated. Now, of course, if Harry's wife had due regard to looking at these Instagram posts, she'll be wounded by her omission, but that assumes that she actually looks, and the actions of Jessica Mulroney may actually fall on stony ground and not be noticed by Harry's wife, and therefore would have no impact upon her. Of course, the reportage of this demonstrates once again how Harry's wife is seen as a user, somebody who picks up friends and then jettisons them once they've served a purpose, and therefore this coverage damages her facade. But it remains to be seen whether she actually takes any notice at all of the latest snub that she's received from Jessica Mulroney. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.